Hey, fake friends. Listen to Fake Headlines podcast using Stitcher Premium.
Use promo code FAKEHEADLINES for 1 free month.
Listen to some of your favorite shows ad-free with Stitcher Premium like
Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend,
My Favorite Murder,
Having Funlessness with Jen Kirkman,
Natch Butte,
Office Ladies,
Prompt and Circumstance,
WTF with Mark Maron,
and so many more.
Plus, you get access to Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and more.
Only $4.99 a month or $34.99 for a whole year.
Go to Stitcher.com/premium to sign up today.
Again, use promo code FAKEHEADLINES for 1 month free. Bye! Hello, I'm Tiffany Dillon.
And I'm Kevin Dillon.
And this is Fake Headlines Podcast.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Fake Headlines Podcast, episode number 92.
Hello, welcome, friends.
Hey, happy July-ish.
Happy mid-July. We made it halfway through. We're doing okay.
Yeah, I don't know what time it is anymore.
Well, for us, it's Sunday. And that's it.
It's like day 120 being at home.
Yeah.
And, we're just trying to hang in there, just like you guys are.
Chugging along. Today we did a little bit of food prep, as in, like, I made a quote-unquote healthy brownies from scratch. And,
what made them healthy?
they didn't have actual flour in them.
Oh, the flour, the silent fattener of brownies.
Yeah. It all started with a sweet potato.
Is that the name of your food blog?
Yeah.
So there's sweet potatoes in the brownies?
Yeah.
Wow. You can't taste it. I had one and they're delicious.
Thank you.
But I wouldn't know that there was any potato in there.
Yeah.
So we took the flour out and then we injected the worst vegetable possible, a potato, into the brownie.
At least it's a sweet one.
That's true. The sweet potatoes are good. I also made quote unquote healthy no bake energy bars, which were filled with cashews, which are highly fattening.
It was cashews and dates. Right?
Cashews and dates.
Like that's the big base of it is dates.
Coconuts and seeds.
Yeah.
But I'm going to cut them smaller so they're not big proportions for us.
So here's a big reveal, guys. We're actually birds. Caca.
Oh, these brownies don't have enough seeds in them. There's a potato in there. I'm a bird.
Good enough.
Hey, what? This doesn't taste like it's been rolled around the street enough.
I don't know why you're like.
Well, you throw a.
You're like the Fonzie bird.
Yeah. I imagine myself being a big city pigeon. So a duck.
Big city pigeons are dicks. They do not care if you're walking. Like they're the ones who turn around like, I'm walking here.
Right.
Like for real. Like they just don't care.
Yeah. They're the city equivalent of Canadian geese.
Yeah, essentially.
It's like a Canadian geese got sent to New York or graduated, went to New York to make it big.
Yeah.
And being a bitch bird.
And then they brought their meanness back to upstate.
Right.
And up to Canada probably, and they were like, nah, we're the big birds in town.
Yeah, sick of you nice birds in Canada.
If you've never encountered a goose, like a Canadian goose, like they're also dicks.
They're the worst.
Anyway, so we're birds. And
we're actually speaking into microphones made out of seeds and old grass trimmings that we made on our own.
Yeah, and some neighbors were nice enough to leave some paper straws in a mailbox, so we grabbed a couple of those, built a little home for ourselves. It's real sweet.
We're living an adorable life right now.
Which is weird that we have a cat as a pet, but, you know, sometimes nature has its quirks.
Yes. More stories and recipes available at itstartedwithapotato.com. Oh man. So speaking of weird websites we just made up, if you do have an actual website or an actual business and you're interested in having fake headlines maybe make a quick little promo for you, we're open to chatting about that. It'd be of no cost to you other than your soul.
No,
just kidding. We're interested in kind of branching out and doing some little promo work like that. So if you got anything, email us at fakeheadlinespodcast@gmail.com.
If you're concerned about the quality of work that we will do, we have done a few for Kitty Box Press, Revolver Records, Soho Shoes, and most recently Marcola. So, we just get bits and pieces of information from each of these business owners, and we kind of come up with our own and put it together. And if you or someone you know have a small business that you would like us to give a shout out for, we're more than happy to do it. There's not really a lot that we can do to try and help in this sort of situation, but if this is our way...
The pandemic you're referring to.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, as birds, it doesn't affect us as much. We're usually home most of the time anyway.
So we want to try and help people out as much as we can in the pandemic, and this is really the only capable way of helping. Is to try and assist small businesses. So let us know.
Yeah. So we're in our personal lives, we try to spend as much money as we can locally. We just wanted to branch out and offer our services as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you do want to hit us up, just email us at fakeheadlinespodcast@gmail.com. We'll figure out some logistics with some dialogue back and forth, and we'll get that going for you.
Yeah. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. And folks, this is Fake Headlines Podcast. If you've not listened before, what we try to do each week is we scour the internet for a strange headline that tickles our fancy, and then we try to write an equally bizarre one to go along with it. And then we present to each other the 3 wacky headlines, and we try to guess which story at the end of it is actually the real one. And throughout the course of the conversation, we don't know what these articles are ahead of time. We don't know what the headlines are ahead of time. And we just try to goof around and use them as prompts to have some good times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
We giggle a lot.
There's a lot of laughing. I'm sorry, folks. You're going to hear a lot of giggling and a lot of snorting. And that's just the way it is because I'm hearing funny things and I like it. That's what I do.
And we hope you like it too.
Yeah. And when I'm done laughing, I'll then regurgitate some food for my cat to eat. Because I'm a bird man.
Disgusting. Ugh.
Sorry. Tiffany has certain triggers that gross her out.
Yeah.
And what I just said, I know is one of them. And I said it anyway. I almost regurgitated words right there. I did it a second time. I'm so sorry. Please come back.
I'm going to go throw up. Kevin, instead of me throwing up, why don't you tell me 3 headlines?
Okay.
That hopefully will not cause me to do the aforementioned action.
Well, I'm sorry to say they're all themed around that
That's
topic.
disgusting.
It just happens to be. Just kidding.
I need a new podcast co-host.
Why don't you email her at fakeheadlinespodcast@gmail.com.
I was talking about Chloe.
Oh. Well, I took that entirely the wrong way.
All right, go, Lovey.
Here we go, Tiffany. Here are my 3 headlines for the week. Headline number 1, the Oregon Trail has traded wagons for tiny houses for this summer getaway. The Oregon Trail has traded wagons for tiny houses for this summer getaway.
Okay.
Headline number 2, back-to-school gadgets including locker pants debut for new homeschool generation. Back-to-school gadgets including locker pants debut for new homeschool generation.
Homeschool. Locker pants. Okay.
And headline number 3, why the songs from high school define you according to science. Why the songs from high school define you according to science.
That sounds like a good one. It also sounds like a reason why Kevin wants to... It gives another reason for Kevin to talk about the 90s. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Well, maybe I won't. Maybe.
Okay. So... All right, Kev. So headline number 1, Oregon Trail wagons traded in for tiny houses or something?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. You said it exactly word for word.
Or something.
Yes. The Oregon Trail has traded wagons for tiny houses for this summer getaway.
I feel like the wagons are tiny houses.
Well, they're more, I guess, they're very primitive tiny houses, I suppose. But you're right. You are correct.
Yeah.
The Wagon was a tiny, the original, the OG tiny house.
They were.
They really were.
Yeah. I mean, they lacked a composting toilet and a nice loft space.
They really did.
Perhaps some inventive stairs that go up.
Maybe like right. Maybe
a little crickety ladder.
A little ladder. No Murphy bed in there, huh?
No.
Or Murphy table.
None of that.
Actually, some of those tiny houses have whole Murphy kitchens that just fold right down.
The
stove just goes right back into the wall when you're done with it.
The whole thing is just like, one of those pop-up books you get as a kid. Easy cleanup. Don't worry about the crashing. They'll reform. Easily destroyable, those books.
Those were the best books because you didn't have to read much. It just brought the story closer to your eyeballs. And you didn't.
Not much of a reader, kid?
I don't know. I got distracted easily.
Those are the best books. You didn't have to read much.
I take that back. I did read a little bit when I was a kid. You know what I really enjoyed was the Choose Your Own Adventure books.
I thought you were going to say the captions to the pictures.
You know what I really enjoyed? The captions and the dictionary pictures. Those were always really nice.
I always felt like I came away learning something. I'm sorry, what was your original statement?
Can we have the stenographer read that back for us, please? The Choose Your Own Adventure books. Did you have those?
I don't know. No. I don't know what that means.
Oh, so there was a series of books when I was a kid in the late 1940s where you would you would be reading along and like the character would be presented with a choice. And
now I understand why you were so excited about picture books, because these books with pictures, it was very new to you.
It was like going to the movies and home. So the Choose Your Own Adventure books, like the character would be presented with a choice, and it would say like, turn to page 42 if you would like to continue on and go to the castle and visit the wizard, or turn to page 49 if you feel like you want to go fart. I don't know, something stupid like that. Like you were presented with choices. Hold on, I gotta jot that idea down for a book. I think I got a real winner. I'm gonna be calling Random House right after the show. But yeah, so it was like that, and so the book could be like sort of multiple storylines because there were a series of points where you had to choose which direction the character went. So and there could be different combinations. So you could kind of reread the book. And I had a couple that I really enjoyed that I wish I could remember something about them that I could look them up and see if they were worth all the excitement as a child. Yeah. But those were pretty cool.
It's funny. I'm sorry. I was not familiar with those that concept being in book form because it seems like the only time that was ever an option in something was like in a video game.
Yeah, you're right.
Because you'd see a lot of video games.
Well, it was the 40s. We didn't have those yet.
Well, other video games were kind of like that. I didn't realize that concept had probably begun from books.
And that's probably where video games came from, right? The idea that you could kind of have these multiple storylines. Right. It was kind of like the putting a picture book to the adventure almost.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a thing.
I never thought of it that way. That's really kind of interesting. But yeah, so I did read those, and I read a lot of
you always
comics.
You always probably pick the route that would get you to the end the quickest. So that you could be done with the book.
Right, with the character.
Slam it down. Done. Ready for my bucket. Free pizza.
Give me that za. Yeah, I would always pick I would choose the least scary, like my anxiety would take over as a child, and it's like, or option B is the character can just go take a nap and maybe then wake up and have a cookie, and I would be like, yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And that's what the real life person reading the book is going to do right now.
You've come a long way.
I need like direction. I just realized this, another psychological breakthrough. I definitely need direction in life like that, because fast forward a few decades from the 40s when like Grand Theft Auto came out, when you were just kind of in this world and you could just drive. I would just drive around and listen to music. I never did any of the any of the missions. I never beat up a hooker. I never did any of that stuff people did in the game,
Wow.
I never did any of that crazy stuff. I just drove around and listened to music. That's all I did. Never interacted with anybody. Like if any like quest started accidentally, I would just back out of it and just go, no, that's okay, mafia boss. I don't want to have to go collect money. I'm just going to drive around Miami and listen to some music.
You were the only person who would slam on the brakes whenever you'd see a sex worker walking by. You know what I mean? Like, but not in a way that you were like, hey, get in the car. You were like, no, after you, please cross the street safely.
Right. Exactly. I would get out of the car and lay my coat down so they could walk across the puddle.
That's really kind of you.
I would drive them to their appointments. I kind of became a lot of friends with a lot of those characters in that game.
That's good.
I still keep in touch with some of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely like left in a world like that, and that's so much how I am too, because without direction, I'm just kind of like, well, let's just wander. It's just Kevin wandering around listening to music. Hey, what's going on? Let me look at Twitter for 5 hours today. I don't know what to do. Someone give me direction.
Yin and yang bang.
Notice how I
Yin and yang.
Exactly. Notice how I personify the pigeon and how I personify myself.
Yes.
It's interesting. I'm going to send the copy of this episode to my therapist. See what she thinks.
Back to tiny houses.
Yes, of course. Tiny house. So the Oregon Trail, speaking of video games, a classic video game, the Oregon Trail.
It was.
I think everybody has played that at some point in school.
If you, well, not everybody. I would say anyone that was like, I don't know, maybe 5 years younger than me probably did not experience that. Like
the Oregon Trail, I remember playing that when I was in grade school, and like, what a weird game. Like, why? What better way to show off the horrors of pioneer life than by video game form? Right. Yeah. I mean, it was nice to have the contrast between the Oregon Trail, our history books, and also Yosemite Sam. Like we just needed each of those points of views, right? So that we saw the full story. Yes, exactly. I think for most children, it's the first time you hear the word dysentery. Yeah. And then you have to like look up what that is, because you don't know what that is as a child. But for you never really quite made it to the D's. You were just like, oh, look, I found a picture I like. Well, that's it. Oh, was I still playing Oregon Trail? And then you closed the book. And I left the game on pause for 4 years. I chose my own adventure. The adventure was to leave. Do these guys ever trade in this wagon for a spaceship? This sucks. This game is dumb. Is there like aliens or anything? It's just we're just in a wagon? How stupid. So the Oregon Trail, that's still a thing that exists? Like people can still go to it, kind of like old Route 66? I believe so. I think that is still... Because then it would allow people to travel the Oregon Trail in a camp like setting that wouldn't end in dysentery. Right. There is sanitation along the trail nowadays. It doesn't end up in death. There's right. A few rest stops. There's a couple of places where you could charge your phones and maybe refuel your vehicles. And so that's pretty cool, right? Yeah, definitely. There's got to be some charging stations there for sure. Maybe like a little visitor center. But yeah, so the idea is, especially now, like there's not a lot of sort of vacation options for people. I mean, and there are, but do people really want to do that? So the idea of maybe getting a tiny house and just kind of going along part of that trail, sure, and kind of having a good time. Sounds like that doesn't sound too bad of a getaway. No. And you're distant from people. Yes, that's highly important now. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting. I think that would be fun. You and I have talked about in like a joking sort of sense, getting a tiny house, but the more things go on, the more it seems very appealing. Yes, it really does. It almost feels, what it feels like? Like a tiny house. Like I think we're going to see more. Like I don't know. Let's just say the world never figures out this illness, and we just are our whole life is modified in some way forever. Let's just throw that out there.
I hate being trapped in the house all the time.
And so the idea of like a tiny house, you can just kind of drive. And then I also was thinking too, remember those cars in Jurassic Park that are like kind of lots of clear, like kind of dome, those little things those little cars are driving around in amongst the dinosaurs. They're like, they have like glass.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like I imagine like more and more vehicles of like cars being designed that way, just to give people more of a feeling of being outside if we are forced to be inside more.
This is really terrible.
And I see like, we're just driving around in like 100 years. People are driving around. They're like, that's where the Panera Bread used to be. And it's just like a field and we're just like in a bubble car,
That's so sad.
There was something called a mall over there. I don't know. An Apple store. People got fruit. I don't know. We're stupid people.
I guess they loved apples.
Our history was lost.
Oh, Zuckerberg. I assume he would be the one to destroy it.
I think he probably... I feel like there's going to be a reveal in like 20 years and he's going to be like I don't know, something. Bad person.
All right, Kevin. What about headline number 2? Back to school gadgets, including locker pants.
Locker pants.
For homeschool people?
From the makers of Homeroom.
Okay.
There's more homeroom in your pants. Locker pants. I don't know what I'm saying. There's something severely wrong with me tonight.
That's something.
Yeah. Locker pants.
Aren't they just cargo pants?
Yeah, I guess you're right. With like two long cargo pockets down the front.
What kind of locker combination is on there? Like, is it the one that's like built in, or is it like one you have to buy a lock for?
And where exactly is the lock? Actually,
where does it go?
Would you believe I keep spinning this lock? I can't quite get it open. That's pigeon.
Does it go
That's city
right?
pigeon going to school.
Does it go right, left, right? Or is it left, right, left?
You got to spin it twice to the right, like all the way around, past the zero?
I don't know. It's so confusing.
Well, locks are crazy.
Just give me a key. You lose it. You're right.
I think you're right. They are sort of just cargo pants. I imagine there's like going to be a whole line of products to like, I don't know, kind of maybe deal with things in a joking manner, sort of, like kind of novelty things for people to kind of make up for a lack of the real deal experience at school.
Sure. Yeah. Also rebranding other pants.
Right. Exactly.
Like because we had, I'll get back to your point in a second, but we had, pedal pushers in like the 50s, but then like now in like the 2000s they're called capris.
Oh, pedal pushers for like bikes? Is that where it comes from?
No, it's like a type of, probably it had something to do with that. I don't know why they were called that.
Okay.
But I do know that older people would call them pedal pushers.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess there has to be little hints of normalcy.
Yeah.
So why not put a locker on your pants?
Right. Exactly.
I don't know why you wouldn't just reinvent the backpack in some way. I mean, it seems like it would make sense that you want to keep your kids' realistic schooling up to par by putting about 5,000 pounds worth of books in their bag and then requiring them to carry them around every hour.
Right.
For 10 minutes.
That's what gives kids good posture.
Just
That
absolutely.
constant weight.
And a strong core.
Right, exactly. Well, there's no gym class, so you need that. You need that kind of workout.
That's right. And, if they need to get ahead in their fitness so that they can go and sit in an office all day when they're adults.
Right, exactly. Got to keep that core tight for sitting up straight and at your keyboard.
Otherwise, there's just going to be no sort of discipline ingrained inside them,
Right, Exactly.
Absolutely. So locker pants.
I also imagine, what I also imagine with locker pants? I imagine there being like lots of built-in padding for the butt, so because you're going to be sitting at home more. Actually, pants should have that for school-age children anyway.
Why don't they just stand? Why do they need desks?
You're right.
Just make them stand the whole time.
There you go.
Give them a standing desk.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're probably right. That probably is a good idea for kids because they're probably not getting out much.
Yeah.
Like a standing desk.
Adults need that too.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. What about a standing desk that looks like a locker? Then at the end of the day, everything just kind of goes inside of it and closes up, and then you're done for the day.
I love that idea.
Like you open up the locker door, and then like a monitor swings out, a little desk slides out towards you with a keyboard. You can stand at it and do your work.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's a crazy space saver.
Be a fun idea. That would be good for a lot of things too.
Yeah.
Like remember the Murphy kitchen I was talking about earlier? You could have a whole thing come right out of the wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I imagine there's going to be like little novelty things like that, or just things to kind of make homeschooling fun. Mm-hmm. Maybe there'll be like some kind of Amazon Echo thing where it's like alerts throughout the day of like school announcements and bells ringing. You can have that kind of sound going to when it's time to change periods and stuff like that.
When you mentioned that made me think of that maybe to make the kid feel like they're competing against other students in the class. Like on one side they could have a Siri, and on the other side they have an Alexa, and so like sometimes the teacher will call on one of them.
Oh yeah,
and maybe the kid's like, man, I know the answer. How come Alexa always gets to answer? Oh.
Siri always gets her hand up first.
Oh, it's so stupid. Come on, notice me, Dad. I'm sure that's a situation, right?
I imagine so.
Real classroom setting, keeping it realistic.
Yeah, well, yeah, some of those awful things that happen in high school, right? Like imagine like Siri like starts bullying you just like throughout the day.
Get it together, Kyle. You stupid jerk.
Boy, Siri really iced me out of the lunch table today. I can't even sit with her. This is really awkward.
It's not my fault. I am a genius. Was that the answer you were looking for? Let me search the web for you. You are the worst.
These are all things that people said to me in school before the web.
Oh, Lovey.
That was my guidance counselor.
No. My guidance counselor was surprised I wanted to go to college.
Really?
Life.
That's really funny.
Oh, what a delight.
I feel like we had guidance counselors in school, but I don't recall ever talking to them. When you think it would be like mandatory that they would like talk to every kid? I must have.
For guidance.
For guidance purposes. It probably was so unmemorable that I just don't remember it, like whatever the experience was.
That's very possible.
But I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that? They still have that? They must still have guidance counselors.
Yeah,
right?
They must. I think it varies from school to school what kind of guidance they provide. Because I've heard of schools having like school psychologists before.
Oh yeah, me too.
And like my school never had that, and it's not like we were a big school and we weren't. I mean, we were well funded. Mm-hmm. I'll put it that way. Mm-hmm. At least the sports were.
Well, they always are.
Yeah, but we had like a normal nurse and guidance counselor and stuff like that.
We didn't have guidance counselors in my senior year. I remember we just had a computer that you could just go to and ask Jeeves. That was what we had due to cutbacks.
That's it?
Yeah. It was an old Commodore 64.
How did that work for you?
Well, here I am. So it didn't work out too well.
No locker pants, though. You probably would have done better had you carried around your encyclopedias in your locker pants.
I probably would have gotten stuffed into my locker pants by a bully. Knowing my luck.
My childhood best friend and I, we were in 4th grade, and that was the first time I got into detention.
In 4th grade? Wow, holy cow.
And we were there a lot. And
for like doing like for troublemaking, or like just for like not doing your homework type stuff, or both?
Probably both.
Yeah, okay. Well, all right, we don't have to go into that on the air. Maybe we'll talk about that later.
I remember my childhood best friend, she stuffed herself into a locker, and she got detention for it. Which, looking back now, I'm sure part of it was like a safety concern, like you don't want the kid to suffocate. But I mean, there's holes.
There's like a grill on there, isn't there? Yeah.
Like she put herself in there. Wow. She wasn't blaming anyone else. It was just like, a laugh, you know.
Well, I tell you, Tiff, I had no idea that I had married a reformed juvenile delinquent. really add some spice to things.
Wow,
I had no clue. Yeah, I only got detention for the homework thing. That's why I said that. Like, I never did anything bad in school.
We had like this ticket system, where it was like a green ticket, yellow ticket, and a red ticket. And once you'd pulled the red ticket, then you got detention.
Oh, so
that happened to us a lot. She and I. That's how we became friends.
Detention buddies.
Yeah.
It's like a Breakfast Club situation for
you two. A little bit. And then it got to the point where it wasn't so bad. We just hung out for a while, and then we didn't have to face the bullies on the bus, so it was fine.
You know, I don't recall detention other than homework, but I do remember when I was in grade school, well, in my school, it was called primary school. It was it was kindergarten through like third grade, I think, was in one building, and it was called primary school. There was our cafeteria in that building. At the end of the lunch period, the tables would be pushed up against the wall. They would kind of fold up against the wall.
Yeah. I recall that being the case as well.
And then we had it was like an auditorium with a stage. It was the room we were using.
It was a cafetorium.
It was a cafetorium. And so if you got in trouble, you got sent to the stage. And
Kevin Dillon to the stage.
That's exactly what it was. It was like my first open mic when I was a kid. Because what happened is I never fired one, but I was preparing a spitball in a I almost said a stove. Not a stove.
Straw?
A straw. Yes, a straw. Well, it was a stove. That's why I was in a lot of trouble. I was preparing a straw and some spitballs, and the cafeteria aide caught me and then sent me to the stage. So that's where all the bad kids went to the stage.
That's why you feel rewarded when you're on stage.
So when you get called to the stage as a kid, you either become a stripper or a comedian later in life. I chose both. Hit the music.
Dance for me, baby. I'll make it rain.
Coming to the stage now, spitballer Kevin Dillon. You know what? Also in that, this person got on the stage quite a bit because. Now, keep in mind, we are between kindergarten and third grade age, whatever that might be. 5 to 10?
No, it's like 5 to 8. That's only 3 grades.
I was held back a couple.
I guess.
There was a guy, and this was like kindergarten. This was like kindergarten because I remember.
So he's a little guy.
So he was little. He's kindergarten age kid. There was a kid who would expose himself and then run around the cafeteria. Like, he would do this daily, and he would always get sent to the stage. He would, that was the first time
you'd ever encountered a streaker.
Never, yes.
And then he moved to the big city. And now you're just like, I've been preparing for this.
But sometimes I think of what happened to that kid? Like, if that kid was streaking at 5, what happened? Holy shit.
Or to be fair, I mean, maybe nothing bad happened to him or anything, but I mean, sometimes kids just don't like to wear clothes. There's always that phase that toddlers go through where they're like, no pants.
That's true.
So maybe he just was like a late bloomer in that sense, where he was like, I hate pants.
He wasn't a late bloomer. He was no bloomers.
That's it. No bloomers.
But I remember I can recall, because I remember being kindergarten. I remember it got to the point where we would just ignore it. Like, people would just be eating their sandwiches, and you would see whatever that kid's name was just kind of running by in the background while you were eating your peanut butter and jelly, because it was just like, all right, wait, it just was a part of the background now. Poor kid.
Were you in kindergarten also?
Yeah. I was trying to hit his penis with a spitball.
That's so good.
So headline number 3, why the songs from high school define you according to science.
So, Kevin, tell me about the 90s.
Nope. I want to hear about the early 2000s.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was kind of all over the place in high school.
Is there
I'm still all over the place, I guess.
Is there one song that comes to mind right away when you think of high school?
Probably like Linkin Park. In the end, because like that was always the song. Like there was always like a piano in a hallway somewhere in the high school, or like if you're in a band room or chorus room or something, and there's always someone who would come in and start playing it on the piano.
Oh, that song, really?
Yeah, like the beginning part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say because at your high school graduation, once everyone threw their caps in the air and that song started playing.
Nope. Yeah, so people would play that. So I guess that makes me think, like every time I hear that, I think of high school. Of course, like Closing Time, like that was a really big song. That one Green Day song,
Time of Your Life.
Yep.
Yeah. It's funny because all of these songs are high school songs for you, and they're songs for me that happened much later in my life.
10 years after me.
Yes.
Well,
yeah. You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, not after me, but you were 10 years older than me, and yeah.
Like Closing Time for me was being played in bars as a funny little joke at the end of the night.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It was played at prom. Yeah.
It was being played at a nickel draft night down at the Old Main in Fredonia, New York.
What about Back That Ass Up? What does that trigger for you?
That triggers that doesn't trigger any thoughts of school. It just triggers thoughts of romance with my wife.
What about What's Your Fantasy by Ludacris? What does that
Prom night.
Does that
Prom night.
Yeah, I remember that being played a lot at high school dances. We listened to a lot of like real like filthy stuff in high school. Like that was how I learned how to dance, I guess.
How to back that ass up.
How I learned to back that ass up. Yeah. Yep.
I remember it's funny when I think of different grades in school, I think of different like genres and stuff of music that I was listening to at the time. Like when I think of ninth grade, I think of like heavy metal. Like I think of Anthrax and like Megadeth because that was the one year I was really into like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I bet your parents were glad when that ended.
Yeah. When I think of like 10th grade, I think of like Cypress Hill and Black Sheep and like different rap groups like that. Like junior year, started to lean more towards like alternative music, like the early 90s alternative stuff. So I was really into like 80s in hip hop and alternative, or modern rock, whatever they called it then. And then definitely so those two styles definitely were what I was into through high school. So different bands like senior year, I think of A Tribe Called Quest because I got the Midnight Marauders for my birthday that year. And so I think of that album whenever I hear that, I think of high school and I think of my birthday party that year. And yeah, it's interesting how like just different things like songs will bring you back. Like whenever I hear, like if I happen to ever hear Soul Asylum on like like on the throwback channels on Sirius, I immediately think of art class in high school because I remember that song being on the radio then.
Yeah.
But it's funny how it's like stuff just brings you to like, and maybe that's kind of what the point of this is, like things just get tied to a feeling or a moment in time.
Yeah. I think we've talked about that before, the strong influence that music has over in memories and bringing those back and evoking certain feelings, and it's very interesting. Like I had a friend in high school who she was my like one of my best friends for a while, and so like she and I would go for car rides a lot. And so at one point I had a car and she didn't, and so she made a mixtape for our car to listen to. So there was like like I loved it. It had like some fun 80s stuff on there, but it also had like some Judy Garland and like also like
Charo?
No, what's that song? Wake up. What did you put on? Wake up.
Yeah, System of a Down.
Yeah, thank you. Because that song was really big too.
Yeah.
So like it had like a whole mix of stuff.
Wow,
so,
that's
like,
a lot of different styles.
Yeah. And so we would listen to a variety of stuff. So like when there's certain songs that I still remember that were on that mixtape that makes me like still think of like having really good times just driving around and laughing and probably driving a little too fast at times. So it's like I still hear them and I feel happy, and I remember good times with that friend and staying up late and all night, and yeah,
I think that it's funny how that it's interesting how I feel like more so than like visuals, I think that sounds like music or just sounds, like certain sounds I would assume it would happen with as well, or certain scents seem to really invoke a memory very instantly. I've rarely like looked at something that I hadn't seen in a long time, or looked at something that reminded me of something from 30 years ago and then had like this weird old memory flash to me. But I've had that with a scent.
Yeah.
Like we were out walking around and just like the smell of the air or something. We were just walking around our neighborhood a couple weeks ago, and it just the scent of the whatever it was, whatever kind of tree it was, whatever the hell it was what I was smelling. It just brought me back to summers as a child, and it was so powerful. Like it almost made me weep. And I know it sounds dumb, but it was just so powerful. It was just this shot of this little snippet of that feeling of being a kid, which I hadn't felt in decades, and it was like, whoa, man,
way
that's
back
amazing.
In the 1940s, yeah,
way back in the we didn't have we were new to scents back then. We didn't have those.
Yeah,
up in the 30s, we're scentless.
Yeah,
just a very boring time. but
up till then, it was just straight cigarettes.
It was all cigarette smoke constantly. That's all you smelled. But yeah, it was just and also with scents, something else recently. There was something that we purchased recently that either came in like something that was like rubber, or came with something rubberized on it. And the smell of the rubber made me think of the floats we had as in our pool when I was a kid, like the rafts that we'd like. Yeah. Like it made me think of those rafts, and it made me think of swimming. And again, it was like this weird blast of childhood nostalgia that lasted like 10 seconds. But it was like just this weird rubber thing made me think that. You know what I mean? It's just weird.
So how do you think that certain songs have shaped you?
Well, yeah, definitely. That's definitely what we should get back to. Yeah, so I think that really probably during defining moments, kind of like in childhood development, right? Like you probably when you hear or see something at just the right time in your life, it could leave an impression on you, either good or bad. You know, you might hear your parents yelling or something, and that might imprint on you something,
sure,
and make you think a certain way, or maybe choose something in the future based upon that you're not really thinking of. And I think maybe music has that ability, maybe ongoing throughout life, because of its deep ties to memory that can evoke.
I think that makes sense, because like I grew up hearing my dad play guitar, as I'm sure I've mentioned before. So like there's certain songs that I'll hear. Do you think I know the names of them? I do not. I do not. But I could recognize the tune, and even just hearing that tune, it could bring me back to hearing my dad play it, and just like hearing his slipper hit the floor as he kept beat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you keep rhythm when you're playing.
He's always worn slippers, this man.
Always, yeah.
That's great.
So like there's certain songs that make me think of my dad. It doesn't matter what period of life it is through.
Yeah.
And just like, yeah, like I think probably the number one song is like "You Are My Sunshine." Like that was like one of the first songs I ever learned, and I learned it with Dad. So like, so like certain songs bring good memories and really kind of form you. And I think learning those old songs and appreciating some of those old songs have also ingrained me with appreciation for like old country or old bluegrass. Like I really enjoy that. Dad played banjo for a while, so I really enjoy the sound of a banjo, and I enjoy the sound of an acoustic guitar. And so it definitely makes sense that it would shape you who you are, just like any sort of experiences would, I think. Yeah.
And do you think so that kind of music, do you think that, like, I was just thinking about when you were talking about that, like I thought of the music that I sort of gravitated towards when I was young. Like most of the time, like my favorite band through high school was Depeche Mode, who are kind of dark. Like their lyrics are pretty dark in a lot of songs. And I wonder if that shaped me in a sort of negative, I don't want to say a negative way, but would I have been a different person if I listened to Wham all through high school or something more uplifting sounding? Does that leave an impression on you in some weird way? I'm not saying Depeche Mode is responsible for any anxiety I have as an adult, but could there be some kind of connection where when you're at a young age and you kind of, or is that the music I chose because I was already feeling a certain way and I just identified with it? Or did that shape the anxiety and sort of sadness that was to come?
I guess we'll never know.
But
yeah.
But I do remember there was a couple year period where I listened to a lot of ska and punk in those years.
Who didn't listen to ska?
Who didn't?
Come on.
And I remember feeling there was some pretty happy, like I think of happy times around those because they're more upbeat and fun. So I'm like, I wonder if there is a connection there to that, where if maybe if you're pumping your head filled with kind of sad songs and dark songs, does that change you in some way or affect you in some way?
Absolutely.
Probably wasn't the best.
I first want to say, I'm sorry that you never got to experience skanking at a high school dance.
That was definitely more of a senior year in college thing.
Yeah, that may or may not have learned how to do that. Second, I think that it definitely makes sense that music would affect how you think and feel, because like there have been certain points in my life where maybe I've been depressed or dealing with certain stuff, and so I would definitely want to listen to sad and sappy music. And as I've gotten older, I've learned how to manage and deal with some of that, and so there's certain music that I know I cannot listen to because it makes me feel a certain way. And so like I do as I can to listen to music that will make me sing because it makes me feel good, and if I'm feeling sad, I do that because it makes me feel good. And then there's other music that I listen to because it just makes me dance, and it makes me, like that's just something that just makes you feel nice. And but I do think that there's other songs that may make you even inadvertently make you feel sad and make you not feel great. Songs are written in a certain way to evoke certain emotions, right? So it makes sense that as the story is being told, because even a full musical can take you on a full journey, but even one song can take you on a short journey. There's always a beginning, middle, and end, and there's a story being told even in that short period. So, if there's a Depeche Mode song that is sad throughout the entire song, then that would make sense that you would be left feeling sad, or the entire album is sad. There's no like story that you're following along necessarily that ends with something happy,
right
like there would be maybe in like an album for like a musical theater record or something,
right. There's gonna be an uplifting song, there's gonna be a fun song,
right, there's
a jokey song.
Yes, exactly.
Not Depeche Mode. They had an album called Black Celebration. Just all dark stuff.
Yeah,
featuring such songs as Flies on the Windscreen. There's a
how nice. Okay, wow.
So
I think I've diarrheaed it out of my mouth enough.
So Tiffany, one of these headlines is real. Which one do you think is the real deal this week?
So we have Oregon trails, tiny houses. We have locker pants.
Back to school gadgets.
And songs from high school. I'm going to go with songs from high school.
Well, Tiffany, you would be correct.
Yeah!
That's the real deal.
I want to hear more about this, so I'm very excited.
Yeah. So this is an article I originally saw from Alan Cross, who's a music guy out of Toronto, but then I've kind of followed it back to a website called inverse.com. Why the songs from high school define you according to science. People gravitate toward music from a specific period in their lives, a new study has found. Yeah.
So not just high school, but just like different periods.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you couldn't bring the entirety of your Spotify or Apple Music library with you to a desert island, what few songs would you bring? The desert island thought experiment may sound a bit from high fidelity, but in the hands of scientists, it can reveal a lot about why we love the music that we do. According to the results of new research, there's a good chance that the songs you value most link to a very specific time in your life and be tied to memories that have shaped who you are.
That definitely makes sense.
A study published Thursday in the Quarterly Journal of Experimental Psychology solidifies the idea that music from our teenage years becomes intrinsically linked to powerful memories that inform our sense of self.
That makes sense because I think there's a... I mean, not only do teenagers go through puberty and all of that, but I think that there's a lot of developmental growth that's very pivotal in who we become as adults. In any teenager. So it would make sense that the music that we listen to would greatly influence us, who we become.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In this study, scientists analyzed music choices from 80 guests on BBC Radio 4's show called Desert Island Discs, a show where famous guests ranging from Paul McCartney to Grace Kelly choose 8 tracks to take with them to a desert island. That's interesting. Half the songs were chosen by the guests because they were linked to important memories when they were between 10 and 19 years old or between 20 and 29 years old, the study finds. Researchers suggest that music heard during that period of time becomes tied to the people, places, and memories that are essential to our sense of self. Yeah.
That's cool.
Catherine Loveday is the study's lead author and neuropsychologist at the University of Westminster. Based on her previous research, she tells Inverse that these songs likely influenced our taste for years to come. She says, it is likely, however, that this effect extends beyond a single song and that we continue to prefer whole genres that we listen to during that time period, she says.
I think that's definitely relatable for me anyway, you know.
Memories, specifically young adults and young teenagers, influence why some songs feel powerful to us, Loveday explains. Loveday and her colleagues note that memories we form during our teenage and early adult years are disproportionately available even in very old age. Past research refers to this phenomenon as the reminiscence bump. It's a time when the brain is taking more snapshots than usual of episodes during your life. So during those time periods, you seem to be kind of more things are being cataloged that you remember later in life.
Well, I met you in my early 20s, so that I would say, not that was long ago, but my most vivid memories and appreciation of certain songs and stuff like that definitely are most important to me during that period.
Yeah, and I probably have the most amount of memories from that time period.
Yeah,
just because of that being during that defining time in your life. Yeah. What makes a song stick with you? While past studies on music preferences only rely on reactions, popular songs, Lovejoy says that analyzing song preferences expressed during Desert Island Discs creates more of a natural experiment. When someone appears on the program, they can pick any song to take with them. The songs analyzed here range from classical to pop to bird songs. Oh, I'd probably like the bird songs. In some cases, people didn't even like the songs they brought with them, Loveday says. All the songs were tied to general memories of adolescence. Many were related to key transitions in people's lives, like meeting a partner, attending college, or experiencing a life-altering change. Loveday points to Bruce Springsteen's interview, for example. His song choices were linked to moments when he decided to play guitar and when he decided to put a band together. We believe our results show that music becomes intrinsically linked to these very important memories.
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily like the songs that people bring with them aren't necessarily songs that they like. They're almost more the memory that they, in some cases that's true, but in some cases the songs that they choose to bring with them on the desert island aren't necessarily ones that they enjoy for the rhythmic value of it or whatever. It's more just what the song represents
the memory
to them.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah. Pretty wild.
Good job, Kev.
Hey, thanks. And I guess we'll be back after these words.
Yeah, that sounds good. Hey, fake friends. Have you heard about Soho Shoes? Inspired by the diversity and vibrant bursts of color seen throughout the popular neighborhood in Manhattan, Soho Shoes lets you find individuality in fashion with a statement of bold confidence. Soho's foundation urges the learning about our true selves while building the confidence to stand in it unapologetically. Shouldn't we all do that standing in a great pair of shoes? Choose from carefully selected boots, heels, sneakers, and now limited apparel. And right now, if you sign up for the Soho email list, enter for your chance to win a $100 gift card. Go to sohoshoes.com today. That's SOLEHO shoes.com. Bye. Hey everybody, we want to tell you about our favorite record store, Revolver Records.
Located in beautiful downtown Buffalo, they have 2 locations, Hurdle Avenue and Elmwood Avenue. Can't get to the store right now? Place your order online at revolverrecordsinc.com.
With the largest selection of new and quality vinyl in Western New York, Revolver Records specializes in all genres of music, from rock to soul to jazz to really whatever you're into.
Revolver Records isn't limited to just selling vinyl. They have all the fun stuff to go with it, like turntables and speakers.
They also have pins, hats, and t-shirts for the whole family. Not sure what to buy that music lover in your life? Get that old hard-to-read so-and-so a gift card.
During coronavirus restrictions, shipping and delivering is free within a 5-mile radius of the shops. Otherwise, get it mailed straight to your door.
Either way, it gives you an opportunity to put on pants for the occasion.
Remember, that's revolverrecordsinc.com.
Bye. Okay. Kevin, are you ready for my 3 headlines?
Yeah, let me hear them. Hit me with those headlines, Tiffy.
Okay. Headline number 1. Don't scream and be serious, Japan theme park tells roller coaster riders. Don't scream and be serious, Japan theme park tells roller coaster riders.
What a strict culture they have there.
I know, it's something. Headline number 2. Teen falls asleep sunbathing, leaves unique phone case shape on their face. Teen falls asleep sunbathing, leaves unique phone case shape on their face.
Okay.
And headline number 3. A colony of bunnies mistakenly consume psychedelic grass and invade home.
Oh my God.
A colony of bunnies mistakenly consume psychedelic grass and invade home. Yeah, man.
I like your high bunny impression there. Yeah, man.
Yeah, they're gentle.
Yeah. So headline number 1, don't scream and be serious. Japan theme park tells roller coaster riders to... That's what they're telling roller coaster riders?
Yeah, don't scream. Be serious.
Well... I love the idea of a silent roller coaster. So people still have their hands up in the air.
I know, yeah. Like they don't care. Yeah.
Like, you know how the roller coaster, when you're on a roller coaster, it takes your picture? Toward
the end, yeah.
I just imagine everybody with their arms crossed, just very serious. And going down the picture.
Yeah.
Are they breaking a sound ordinance or something by being too loud?
That could be it, yeah.
Listen, we built this theme park next to this retirement home, and if you could just do them a favor, they got to get to bed early tonight.
Just keep it down.
Just, if you wouldn't mind.
It's too much.
All the music playing at the roller coaster, stuff like rock songs. It's like...
lullabies.
Nursery rhymes, lullabies. Just like...
Actually, it's just sound of like nighttime sounds that you'd hear by a pond, like crickets and frogs singing,
and a harp for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, you like to have those little angelic sounds. Yeah. Once in a while, they'll break theme and play "Kiss the Girl" from Little Mermaid. It's still water themed.
Yeah.
Sha la 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 la, don't be shy.
I wonder if are you just like not allowed to talk at all at this place? Is it just like the silent park?
It's a silent park. Yeah, it's opening up a new realm of possible communication that is just silent. And
I really like this idea though. I I don't like I get annoyed hearing people talking when I'm in public. Like, don't sometimes you just...
Kevin, are you an introvert?
I really am. Don't you just hate hearing other people's conversations?
Don't you just hate the sound of a voice of someone you don't know?
Don't you just not like people? But you know how people just get really annoying when they're like, hey, I'm going to act all wacky. I'm at the amusement park. I used to work at an amusement park as a teenager.
We've heard.
Everybody was terrible that went there. So the idea of working there and everyone just shuts the fuck up the whole time, I
probably
love
sounds great. Yeah,
I am very big on this idea.
You had mentioned the roller coasters and when it takes your picture toward the end. Did you whenever you went on rides and stuff and you took these pictures, did you ever try to be like really goofy, or did you ever try to be like stone faced, like you weren't fazed by what was going on or anything like that?
No, I don't think we ever did. Like, I don't know if that we had thought about that. Like, that's a great.
Yeah.
I would love to now.
My brother has this great photo of like I went when I was a teenager, so I must have been like 15. We went to Darien Lake with him and his wife, and so we went on the ride, the Superman, and so he was like, all right guys, when they take our picture, make sure you have your arms up in the air so you look like Superman flying. And of course my brother executes it to perfection, and then my sister and I look like we're big fans of Hitler.
Oh no!
So my sister-in-law and I, like, we have big smiles on our faces, but like it.
You have one hand up.
Yeah, it's just one hand up because the other hand is, of course, gripping the bar because you can't help it. You know,
it doesn't have like the shoulder things on it.
No, it's just like it's just like the lap bar.
Yeah.
So like my left hand is gripping the bar, and like my sister-in-law has the same pose where like her right arm is up, and we look like we're happy about something, but it's not flying as Superman. And my brother is like he, struck a Hulk pose, like Hulk Hogan behind us, like he's flying like Superman. But it's a very, very funny picture because like we're all smiling, and I have braces, so I look like a fool. And nothing against people wearing braces. I'm grateful for them. I have a nice smile on that, but yeah, so it's very silly. So like I've done stuff like that before, and I know I have one from when I went most recently, probably the last time I was on a roller coaster, and I went with my friend and her sister, and like their faces are just absolute looks of horror, like they're going through the worst experience of their lives, and I have this big grin on my face like this is the best day. Yeah, so sometimes like you just know where the camera is and where to make that face, I guess. So, yeah, I can't believe you never did that. You're such a ham.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
I feel like you and your best friend would have done stuff like that.
I know. I don't recall doing that. I don't recall. We took but see, this was back in the 40s. We took photography very seriously.
You still had a flash pot and everything, so it was like a real setup.
Right. There was a guy at the bottom of the roller coaster hill with like that big thing, and he had to get underneath the black cloak to take the picture,
which is always really tricky because at that time the picture was still upside down, so he had to go like in the center frame at just the right moment.
Yeah. He was using like wet plate technology. It was just real crazy. Yeah,
daguerreotypes, those are real tricky.
He's
so
like,
tricky.
Sorry, Mr. Dillon, but the f-stop got screwed up. You have to ride that ride again if you want your photograph taken.
I don't know why they were still using daguerreotypes at such a late time, but it's fine. They had photographic paper then. So
all right, camera nerd, holy cow!
A little on topic.
It was when I worked there. It was before photography. That someone used to just quickly sketch you on the ride as you flew by.
That same person was also in every courtroom.
They did. Yes, they learned.
They made a lot of money.
Well, you really learn a valuable quick drawing skill, and you're able to then do courtroom drawings for the rest of your life. Yeah,
I'd love to take a lesson.
It's part of the amusement park trajectory. There, that's what. That's the only time you want to use trajectory when you're talking about riding roller coasters.
That's the only time.
Yeah, more so in a career path word there than but yeah, and I can't believe we never thought about doing wacky photos like that. I don't know why we never did that. I don't recall ever doing stuff like that. That's great.
Yeah.
But I like this idea. I like the idea of the silent amusement park because it also adds, like, the silence also kind of adds creepiness to everything. Like if everybody is on
having fun, but it's quiet,
right? Or like everybody's on like a carousel and it's quiet. It's just like, what's going on here? It's
like the eeriness that if you're someone who's not participating in a silent disco, you just hear like the sounds of like clothes shuffling and like shoes tapping of like eerie. People dancing around, but you don't hear the music. It's weird.
Yeah, that's definitely like, I remember when I used to work in an amusement park, when we would close up at night and we'd be walking home, like where I worked was on the far end of the park, so you had to walk through the whole park to get to the where you parked. And walking through an amusement park at night with all the lights turned off, it's really creepy.
Yeah,
it is really spooky. It just seems like, what happened here? Did something go wrong? Like, did the rapture happen and I was left behind in this godforsaken amusement park in the middle of nowhere? Yeah, it's really freaky.
I hate that feeling of when you feel like you've been left behind in the rapture. It's
it's like, oh man, all I got are these amusement rides and Dippin Dots, the ice cream of the future. Well, that's going to run out.
The future is now.
Well, the future's now, and I'm hungry. Give me those dots. By the way, they were way off on that, weren't they? The Dippin' Dots people.
Yeah, they should have invested in frozen yogurt.
Yeah, they were so wrong. That Dippin' Dots did not become the ice cream of the future.
I always felt like Dippin' Dots didn't have a flavor, and I always felt like the spoon that I received with it was always like slightly scratchy. So it was always just like
just like, bad texture experiences.
Yeah, it wasn't fun.
No, it doesn't
I never
sound
felt
fun.
Like they tasted good in any sort of way. I was never like, I love Dippin' Dots. It was always just like, I guess these tiny little ice crystals have a little flavor.
Right. That's usually what people said about Dippin' Dots. It was like, boy, I could go for some ice cream. All we got's Dippin' Dots. I guess I could go for some of those little ice flavors.
Yeah.
The future's got the future. It was a very bleak future for ice cream back then. Like the folks in the 90s there, they just didn't. It was a very it was a very grungy. Grunge was like the thing right then, right? And then it's like their bleakness and sort of blah was like how they projected ice cream in the future. They were so wrong about that.
It's so bleak that you don't even get a full scoop of ice cream.
No,
you just get like droplets of it.
Whatever
droplets were left over in the freezer,
right?
After being squeezed through a cheese grater,
and not even like a waffle cone or something to make up for it. Just bullshit.
And a weird spoon to eat it with.
People were dark then. Those Dippin' Dots people were listening to Depeche Mode growing up, and they just got real sad about everything.
And so they just ate it while walking through a silent amusement park. Wow. Kevin, do you want to talk about headline number 2?
I do, but I could talk about the silent amusement park all day because I think it's such a funny idea.
We can keep going.
Anywho.
So, headline number 2, Kevin.
Yes, headline number 2.
Teen falls asleep sunbathing, leaves unique phone case shape on their face.
How embarrassing.
How embarrassing. What kind of selfie filter can you apply with that, huh?
Hopefully it wasn't like a tiny case where it was like, well, did you fall asleep with a Motorola Razr on your face? Oh, you jerk.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, not even like a cool phone. Boo. Did that say Samsung across your forehead? You're one of those Android people? Oh, gross. Just kidding, Android people. It's fine. Remember when being a Apple or an Android person was the biggest divisive thing in the world? Oh, those were funny times 5 years ago.
Loved it. Yeah.
I love this idea of that reminds me of a police academy when the captain falls asleep and they take the sunblock and they write, I forget what they write on him. They write something on him, on his forehead. They write dork on his forehead.
Something like that,
So he's like walking down the beach and they're like, hey dork. And he's like, meh. And he turns towards the camera and he's got dork written on his forehead. Sunblock.
That's really funny. There's sun cases. There's phone cases that come in like different shapes and stuff. And
you're right.
People,
right.
Like I used to have one that was it had like little cat ears on it.
Yes.
Oh, I miss that case.
Oh,
it's cute. Because it looked like Chloe. It was black and it had gold eyes.
Just like Chloe.
Yeah.
Eyes made of gold.
Yeah.
Eyes made of gold, that cat.
She's priceless. Yeah, so maybe this was one of those cases, but maybe it was shaped like something ridiculous, like a butterfly or something.
Yeah.
You know?
It could be. I like the... there's like no selfie filter that can undo that. Like good thing we're all home right now, because that would be really embarrassing. If
I know.
It's good to be stuck home to like be able to take a couple weeks for that to like wear off for a couple days. I don't know.
Or if you're me, an entire summer.
Oh no! Do you think that would happen to you if you had like an unfortunate?
It has happened to me. Again, as a teenager, I went to an amusement park with my older sisters in Virginia. And I think it was King's Dominion. And it was sunblock I wasn't really familiar with. They're also very fair-skinned like I am. And so they gave me sunblock, and it was like this like purple kids stuff. And I was like, oh, it's fine. I'll just slather it on, whatever. Like the place that I usually need sunblock is right on my shoulders. It's where I always burn. So I just slapped it on, and then I had an outline of a hand.
Oh no!
On my back for a whole summer.
Holy cow!
Like I got burned around where my fingers put that the sunblock
Really?
worked wonders.
Holy shit!
But where I did not put the sunblock was very burned.
Oh no!
So I had my own handprint on my back
it was like
for a summer.
It was like what is that place? I forget what it's called. It's that theater on Hollywood Boulevard, the something Chinese theater, where they have like the handprints in the concrete.
That was basically what it was, but on my body.
You had a Walk of Fame on your back.
I did. It was my own. I am a star.
Oh no.
And it takes me forever to lose color like that. Like it took so long for that to go away.
No.
Yeah, it was.
I'm so sorry.
What a weird thing to happen.
I remember going, as you could imagine.
Wear sunblock.
As you can imagine.
Everywhere.
Cover yourself. As you can imagine, speaking of we talk about anxiety and stuff quite a bit. My senior year in high school, I remember going to Florida. I had a friend living in Florida. My sister and I, for spring break, went and stayed with him. And as you can imagine, being an anxiety-filled person, I didn't like to take my shirt off very much in public. And so I had a bit of a, what you would call a farmer's tan.
Sure.
When we came back from the trip. But I was so kind of embarrassed by it that because, it's something that kind of kids would kind of tease each other about in school. At least they did in my school. Of
course, yeah.
So I got some of this like tanning lotion, and I covered the underside of my arms where sun did not get exposed to on my trip.
No.
And then I put it on my hands. So when I went to school, I had a very like black knuckles. Like they were so dark, like because the skin's already kind of dark as it is. So it just looked really like a negative. It's like a photo negative of my hand, basically.
Oh my gosh. I've used those lotions before because I'm very self-conscious about how fair my legs are. Like the rest of me is very light, but my legs are like 5 shades lighter somehow. And so there's always someone who makes a comment about it. And so I've tried to use those lotions several times, and it always says in there like, use it sparingly around your ankles, and make sure you wash your hands afterwards to make sure it doesn't get left around your knuckles and like the creases of your fingers and stuff like that, because that's where it all stays, right, and on your knees. So I just had these very dark knuckles with like the grooves of like extra highlighted. It was so bad. It was so bad, and I had to just like keep my hands folded or covered up most of the time in school, but someone did make fun of me because they noticed it. But thankfully they were kind of a friend and didn't like publicize it, oh my gosh,
or broadcast
you
it.
Goofball.
Oh, I was so embarrassed.
Yeah. It happened.
I should have just taken my shirt off and tanned.
Yeah. Well, now that's what you can do.
I know.
You know what? You're awesome how you are, and that's all that matters.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I would tan quite a bit when I was a kid. I mean, just from being outside. We had a pool. We had an above ground pool, so we were even closer to the sun. And so I swam a lot when I was a kid. By myself. Just kidding.
Now I just don't wear pants when I go out into the sun, and people can't really notice. I say if people look at me and I'm, my legs are showing and the sun is reflecting, that they should just put on sunglasses and maybe look away.
Right, right. Or just, just don't shave your legs, and then you just kind of looks like you're wearing corduroy.
A khaki corduroy. Yeah. You actually can't see the hair on my legs unless the sun hits it right. So I'm very reflective. I can't help it.
That's why I like to go tanning with you, because then it helps kind of, I can absorb it from you. Sure. Yeah. Just aim your body at me.
I'm like one of those like silver sun screens that people
like
use. Yeah, but like I just stand like around you to like beam the sunlight to you. Like if you have a specific spot, I'll just like put my arm up like Wonder Woman. Right. And like it aims right there. You know?
You're like a tanning prism for people.
That's it. Yeah.
like is that
That's me.
Is that a tall, sexy Crystal over there, or is that Tiffany? I can't tell what's going on over there.
Either way, sounds like a stripper.
Coming to the stage next, tall, sexy Crystal.
Psst, it's Tiffany. Coming to the stage next, it's Tiffany.
She also is going to use some spitballs. Don't ask.
Sorry, exotic dancer. I shouldn't say stripper. It's not very nice.
Oh, you're right. Yes.
Either way, that's my name. Yeah, so I mean, I guess maybe it's just kind of a rite of passage where you have to have at least some sort of strange sun tan experience, whether it's a farmer's tan, a mishap with tanning lotion, leaving your own handprint on your back.
That's so funny. Oh.
Yeah, you and I have each had the experience of being sunburned so badly that we've had blisters before.
Yeah, like I had when I was in college, I had a situation where it looked like an over easy egg on my leg.
That's so bad.
Like it was like a big.
That's so horrible.
Bubble. It was horrible. Yeah.
Oh God, I just can't imagine how much that hurt.
It was terrible. Yeah, it was absolutely awful.
I remember in 5th grade, like the last day of 5th grade, we had like a slip and slide set up, and shame on my teachers for not
using water. Yes, that's terrible.
No, for not taking into account that kids should be out of the sun if they are burning. So like by the end of my last day, like I had blisters all over my shoulders, and which is why I'm so sensitive to the sun now. And like my shoulders are covered in freckles because of all the sun damage and stuff, which is really bad. And but yeah, having blisters on your skin because you've been burned so bad is like one of the worst experiences.
Yeah, that's so horrible.
Oh, it's awful.
Like, I think for you and me, well, for me, for sure, like, I need to use, and I know aerosol is not great for the environment, but I need to use, like, those spray-on tan, like, sunblocks.
Yeah.
To make sure that I cover everything. Because I always, inevitably, if I'm tasked with rubbing in a lotion, unless it's somewhere very specific, I'm usually going to miss
your toes.
Yeah, I'm usually going to miss something. But I like to just be able to spray, especially being a bald man. I like to just take my glasses off, just spray my face and head. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to miss a spot because this is going to burn badly if I miss something.
The spray tan that we have isn't aerosol. It's just like a spray. It's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not an aerosol can.
It's not really an aerosol. See, I always felt guilty using that.
No, don't feel guilty.
See, again, the anxiety. I always feel like a creep using that, like in public. Like, honest to God, like we went and met some friends for ice cream recently, and I had forgotten to put any stuff of that, any sunblock on. I went over to the car, and I remember thinking, "Oh God, I hope no one like yells because this is going to bother them, or they think it's going to like, they're like, hey, you're ruining the environment, asshole." Like at the ice cream place with kids, right?
Yeah.
But that's how my brain works. And I was like, I remember being like very like, let me do this quick so no one sees me.
Oh, no, you're fine. You can use that in public.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do take a can of Nair hairspray, not Nair. I do take
Aquanut?
I do take a can of Aquanet though and spray it simultaneously with the.
Then that's harmful.
Okay,
That's a mistake. Also explains why you smell like a wet dog.
Right.
Because that's what it smells like.
A wet dog with hair exactly the way they want it.
That's not going to budge for any breeze.
New Aquanet for dogs. I just imagine the dog sticking its head out the window, like at the breeze, and like it's.
But it's like not moving. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. Kevin, headline number 3.
Yeah, headline number 3. Some bunnies got high.
A colony of bunnies mistakenly consume psychedelic grass and invade home. Wow.
Looking for fudge. Do bunnies eat fudge? They probably shouldn't.
They might be looking for something. Well, it's like a psychedelic drug, so it could have been anything. I want to know how it got on the grass.
That's true too. I was thinking they were breaking in to find something to eat, but what do psychedelic drugs necessarily make you hungry?
No, I think they just make you hallucinate.
Make you hallucinate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they just thought they had won the lottery and now had a great big den.
Right.
You know, they were like, well, we're moving in, kids.
Oh, man.
Tell the whole family we better breed it up because we're going to fill this place.
Look how many square footage there is.
It'll take 2 days for this to burst at the seams. Let's get going. Hump, 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 hump.
You thought the gremlins multiplied overnight. Whoa. Look at those rabbits go. Doing it in every room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you, have you ever, like, I'm sure you probably have partaken in maybe not psychedelics, but things that maybe do make you hungry after you do.
Are you asking me if I've ever had weed?
Yes.
I've smoked weed, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
We have that on tape? All right, come on in, cops. This is all a setup,
you
Tiffany.
Can't bust you
it
for
took
smoking
92
weed
episodes
before in your life.
to bust you. Shut it down. We got her.
Kevin, let's talk about all the times that you tried to smoke weed.
No, let's not. So, was there like a particular thing that you was like a go-to snack? Did you prepare ahead of time and be like, I'm going to make sure I have some of this jar of maraschino cherries on hand because I'm going to be smoking some weed later?
No, it seems like every time, like I don't smoke it because like it doesn't really do anything for me. Like, this is what happens. Like, the first time I smoked weed, I threw up a lot, and it was clearly laced with something weird. And then there was another time that I smoked weed. I can count it on one hand how many times I've smoked weed. Another time I did eat a lot of pizza and chocolate Pop-Tarts because that was what was available.
Yeah.
Another time I smoked weed and we decorated our Christmas tree. That was when I lived with roommates.
That was just me and Grandma that year.
And maybe there was a couple other times, but there was never like a go-to food because like
you weren't that into it. Like you weren't like a.
No, I really wasn't. I was never really into drugs. But I love me some booze. Yeah. I get real good at pouring myself some White Russians and rum and cokes. Drink of choice. Do shots of rum. That was me. Former life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy manoli.
Yeah. Never into certain foods that gave me the munchies or anything like that.
Yeah, me neither. I never really was somebody that had drugs on them, or you know what I mean.
When I was drunk, it was bagel bites.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because that made you feel good.
Yeah, for me, it was just more. Yeah, it was more whatever was around. I never planned ahead and made sure I had a certain thing around for stuff. You know. Mm-hmm. It was just whatever was available. But what do bunnies eat? Carrots, right? Carrots?
Yeah,
the diet?
Carrots, greenery.
They're like herbivores.
Grass.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
They're not,
Yeah. So they got into something that made them hallucinate.
Yeah, what would psychedelic grass be? I wonder what that was all about. Was it like mushrooms maybe growing there that were psychedelic or something? In the yard or whatever, the field? Maybe
some kids or maybe someone within the area of where these bunnies reside left some stuff behind or contaminated the grass that these bunnies are usually consuming.
I just imagine like the bunnies eating the grass and then breaking into this house and then you see like the surveillance footage from the house of like they have like a security system. It's just a bunny sitting there with a didgeridoo.
Yeah. Real chill, man. Real chill.
Another one just kind of eating some macaroons. I don't know why macaroons. Those sound like
they're awesome.
Those sound like they would be really good.
Yeah.
Really stoned. If anybody has any weed, please bring it to us now. And macaroons. I would prefer macaroons to most drugs, but I haven't really done many drugs, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick with macaroons the rest of my life.
I think psychedelic drugs are like LSD. Like there's certain types of drugs that affect your brain differently. So like LSD can make you trip and like see certain things. But it can also have like positive effects on you. So I think that sometimes it can assist with those who are dealing with depression and anxiety, but in a good way. It like hits that certain temporal lobe of your brain that allows a freeing of that. Yep.
I've definitely read some articles. I remember reading something, maybe it was in Rolling Stone years ago, about is it MDMA, maybe the party drug?
I'm not sure
ecstasy?
What that is.
I think it's ecstasy, maybe.
Okay.
I believe that has been used in, or either I think it's been used in kind of like trials where it does have like positive psychological effects on people that are dealing with certain things like that. I remember in high school, some friends of mine doing mushrooms, or maybe it was LSD, something like that. One of those things. And I think it was mushrooms. They were more of a mushroom crowd. They're more like hippie-ish. Yeah. Like outdoorsy. I don't know.
I feel like weeds and mushrooms are both kind of a hippie drug, right?
Yeah. I feel like acid in high school, it was more like metal, like the metalheads were more into that for some reason. And like the hippie people were more into like I don't know. At least that's how it was in the 1940s. But I remember these folks were tripping one night. I was not. I was there the next day. They said they were going to be tripping. I left. I went home and I laid under my bed until 24 hours passed and just to not be anywhere near it.
Just to make sure you weren't exposed and even just talking about it.
I self-quarantined myself from this party because I was too worried about what might happen. But I remember the next day them saying that one of them, they were all cigarette smokers at the time. One of them was like, she was like, "Hey, can I have a cigarette?" And they're like, "Oh, you don't smoke, or why do you smoke?" Or something like that. And something clicked in their head, and they never smoked again.
Wow.
Like the next day they were like, "Yeah, I haven't had a cigarette in like a day. Like I don't even want, like it's so weird. I don't even want it." Wow. And like something happened there. Like there was some kind of suggestion, and the right combination of chemicals, and it caused a positive change for this person.
It's almost like it contacts a part of your brain similar to what hypnosis might.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just like the power of suggestion, but maybe not necessarily something you're in control of.
Yeah. That was really wild. I was like, oh, that's so crazy.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
But then I remember people, like I remember when I was still in high school, I had friends that were freshmen in college. I remember going to hang out with them. And one of their roommates or dorm mates was talking about how they had taken LSD and like there was like blood coming out of the walls. They were describing like a very gruesome scene. And I just thought, God, why would you want to do that to yourself?
I think that's why I've always kind of steered away from trying any stuff like that. Because I've always been like... I
don't trust myself.
Yeah, I don't trust myself either. I was always really scared that there would be like a bad trip of some sort. Like something bad would happen and I wouldn't be able to come back from it, or I would like say things I regret, or say things that are like weird that could be made fun of, or like like maybe hurt someone's feelings and stuff like that. And
same here. That's same here. I just never wanted to give control away like that.
Or maybe you could suddenly think that you're part of a rabbit colony, and
break into a house.
Decide that you live in that house now. Like I'm, you break in, you're the head of the bunny crew, and you're like, I'm the captain now, and kick out everyone, and you're like, I choose this bed, this is mine now. And then the homeowner's like, I don't know who you are, and you're like, well, it doesn't matter because I live here now.
Well, please get out of my bed, I'm here with my wife. Please
leave.
Please leave. This is very frightening. King Bunny, sir.
Bunnies are like this, like, bunnies are definitely one of those animals where they're just like so sweet and cute and you can't think of them being horrific. But then you see those videos online where they're like, maybe it's a white bunny eating a raspberry and you're like, oh God, they're a danger to society.
Really? What do you mean by that?
Have you never seen a rabbit?
No.
I gotta show you this.
Yeah.
Hold on.
What are you talking about? I'm so curious.
This is very funny.
Oh God.
So it looks like it's like bleeding at the mouth.
Yeah, that's
but it's
horrible.
Not. So it's like maybe that's not even the best example.
Well, I think you've illustrated your point through a graphic bunny video.
Oh, here's a good one.
Oh, good. That's a cheery image to have right before bed.
So it looks like it's like eating something horrific.
Yeah, damn.
But they're so cute though.
They are cute.
They're super cute.
They are cute. I just imagine the bunnies break in, they immediately start frying carrots. I guess they would probably fry them, right? Maybe put them in an air fryer.
Yeah, they might sort of expand the horizons of how they may prepare their meals based on their new environment.
Right, new human technology available.
Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna fire up that oven. They're gonna kick up the air fryer. They're gonna make some carrot cake.
Oh, we should make some carrot cake because that sounds delicious right now.
Yeah, we can make some mug carrot cake at some point soon this week, probably.
Good.
Does that sound good?
That sounds perfect.
It'll be a nice little treat.
And then the bunnies just kind of chill out and play some PlayStation.
Yeah, they won't even do that. Maybe they'll just sit and stare at the ceiling and play some old records. You know,
that's also I could see a bunny doing that.
Big fans of White Rabbit. You know, Bunny and the Echo Men.
I like the Echo and the Bunnymen would be
Thank
Bunny.
you. Sorry.
Well, no, it would be Bunny and the Echo Men if it was a rabbit band.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Yep. So there's that.
What else would there be? What else would they be listening to? Well, I mean, if they were my age, growing up in the 40s and maybe teen in the 50s, they might listen to Bunny Holly.
Yeah, Bunny Holly. That's a big one. That's a huge star. Huge star. They might listen to Megan the Bunny.
Yes, Megan the Bunny. Yes,
yeah.
Yep. It may be if they turn on the TV, maybe they would watch an episode of the Carrot Burnett Show. So stupid.
They would love it.
But yeah, there are lots of entertainment options when you're a stoned bunny.
Yeah,
music to TV.
Not stoned, just high. They're psychedelic drugs. They're not stoned.
They're not stoned.
It's a difference.
You're right. I'm so sorry.
There's a difference in effect.
All right, Cheech. God.
All right, Kevin, do you want to try and take a swing as to which one of these headlines is real?
I do. Let's see. Do
you need me to reread them?
We got the silent roller coaster. We have the cell phone tan.
Yep.
We have the psychedelic bunnies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the cell phone tan because I feel like I could see like some kind of viral photo being shared amongst social media with somebody. Yeah.
With like a crazy tan line.
Yeah.
Well, that is a fake headline.
Okay. Can't believe you did this to me. Well done.
Sorry.
The screaming coaster?
That is a real headline.
All right. I can't wait to hear about those.
This is the one that I was laughing hysterically about the other night in bed.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying, because we were in bed and you were laughing hysterically. I was a little like, was it me?
We were laying in bed staring at our phones, and I came across this headline and I started reading it, and actually it was someone on social media who shared it, and they shared one line of it, and it killed me.
You were laughing very hard.
And then we went to sleep and I was still giggling because it made me laugh.
But you were silently giggling and being real, just like the riders. Don't scream and be serious. That's awesome.
Don't scream and be serious, Japan theme park tells roller coaster riders. This is from BBC News. And Many people might find it tricky keeping quiet through an entire roller coaster ride, but one Japanese theme park wants you to do just that, and more. Fuji-Q Highland near Tokyo reopened last month after its virus shutdown. It asked riders to avoid screaming when they go on roller coasters to minimize spreading droplets.
Oh, okay.
This is what got me. And instead, scream inside your heart.
Scream inside your heart.
Describe 2020. Yep, that's it. And to encourage people to play along, it's getting riders to put their most serious face on for the ride photo. They can share their photo online in hashtag Keep a Serious Face Challenge, and those who do it best will be given free day passes.
A free roller coaster for their backyard. So the idea is they take serious photos, like we were talking about. That's awesome.
Yeah, so they have a couple of examples here.
These are really pretty cool photos for the roller coaster.
This is some of them are edited so that they look very silly. But you can see like this person right here, like they look very, very serious. The theme park will be running the challenge until July 17th, which I think is today, actually, right?
Today is the 19th.
Oh, okay. So it ended a couple of days ago. So if you're in Japan and can hold a serious face under any circumstances, now's your chance. Or if you did, I'd love to see it. The no screaming rule, in addition to the mandatory use of masks, is meant to stop potential virus-carrying droplets from flying out of your mouth at 80 miles per hour.
Oh, jeez.
Disgusting.
God.
Clearly, it'll be impossible to enforce this ruling, and according to executives who spoke to the Wall Street Journal, violations will not actually be punished. But it's all part of measures being taken by the theme park to give customers the confidence to return after shutdowns and assure them their safety is being taken seriously. In response to suggestions that it was possible not to scream on a roller coaster, the park previously released a video of the two executives riding in silence to show it can be done. Here's a picture of what they look like.
The two most serious people you've ever seen.
Very serious.
One looks like a referee.
In the surreal video, which has gone viral since, both executives are seen formally clad in masks. One of them is even wearing a full suit and tie. He slowly adjusts his hair after the roller coaster plunges down and looks almost bored by the entire exercise. The other clenches the safety bars tightly. You can see their bodies shaking as the ride goes on its twists and turns, but they remain absolutely stoic and silent throughout the entire 4-minute video. At the end of the video, a message appears. Please scream inside your heart. Japan for months had a relatively low infection rate, though the virus cases in capital Tokyo have surged in recent days. The country has reported more than 20,000 virus cases and a death toll of 982, according to Johns Hopkins University, which, compared to the U.S., not too shabby. So keep going, Japan, with your silent screams inside your heart.
Here in America, we're just screaming.
Just they would send us. That made me laugh really, really, really hard
It's
when
so
I saw
funny.
that. And I want to say that I first saw it from like Kat Jennings, who's a actress. Yeah. And it really, really made me laugh. And I was like, I don't know if Kevin is going to see this, because it seemed like other celebrities were sharing it too. And I was like, I really hope he doesn't see this, because it made me laugh so much. And I can't wait to share it.
That's great.
Yeah, so that was it.
That's awesome. You can't tell me not to scream in an amusement park. This is the United States.
I'll scream outside my heart.
I'm going to scream outside my heart. Oh, God, I got COVID. I was a stupid fool.
Guys, wear a mask. Stop being stupid.
Wear a mask. And I didn't mean to insinuate that it's mostly people in the South, but with my horrible accent, that are being stupid. There is a lot of very, very stupid people in the city that we're living in currently in the North.
Yeah.
Like a fuck ton of stupid people.
So,
wear a mask. God, just do it.
Be safe. We want this to be over so we can get back to life.
Knock off your ridiculous crap.
Anyway, we're getting to the point where we're just like so frustrated with everything that we're just like, just stop being stupid.
Thanks for listening, everybody. If you want to keep following us on social media at Fake Headlines Podcast on Instagram and Facebook.
At Fakehead Pod on Twitter.
And fakeheadlinespodcast.com also has an archive of shows there.
And if you, as we mentioned at the top of the show, if you would like to contact us for any reason, fakeheadlinespodcast@gmail.com. But also if you have a small business that maybe you would like us to whip up a little ad for you, just reach out to us. We'd love to do that for you. And if we can help in some way to try and get the word out there about your business, maybe you're struggling in some sort of way. And even if we cannot help like in a huge impact sort of way, it's a little bit, and that little bit helps, and we want to be able to do that to you.
Yeah, and
for you, not to you.
We want to do that to you.
We want to do that to you.
And if you could do something to us, if you're listening on the Apple Podcast app, if you're not, maybe you don't even normally use Apple Podcast app, it's on your phone though. Bring it up and dial up Fake Headlines Podcast and hit the 5 stars on there for us. It just helps us remain visible on there and remain active on the Apple Podcast charts.
And as always, if there's anywhere else that you can leave a review, no matter how you're listening to our podcast, that's a great idea. And as always,
so much.
Tell your friends.
Yeah. Tell your friends about us, folks.
Yeah. Next time in your Zoom meeting, just be like, casually bring it up. Like,
you guys like podcasts?
Hey, looking for podcast suggestions? Everyone's always looking for those, right?
I see like 1,000 tweets a day saying, got any podcast recommendations? Yeah, us. Anyway, folks, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.